What do you think, folks? Can a production grade rifle and scope setup built for under $1,200 actually perform with a custom rifle? Well, we're going to find out. We've put together this Ruger American Gen 2 and 7mm PRC with a nice Leupold scope, level bubble, all for under $1,200. That, of course, does not count the suppressor. Folks, this is part 3 of our budget rifle build process. We're just seeing if we can make an affordable rifle perform well enough to really give that cutting edge long range reach that we want for hunting big open country here in the West or in Africa and so forth. So our goal today is to sight this in, accuracy test it, and then shoot it out to 450 yards on deer vital size steel plates, see how it does. And then if we're still cooking strong, see how it does out to 600 yards. And that should be a ton of fun. We'll even reach out further if we have time and if the rifles are keeping up. So again, this is part 3. Go back if you haven't already and watch part 1 on the budget rifle long range build, which goes through why we chose the Ruger American Gen 2 and 7 PRC as our base model, right? Why we chose this Leupold VX-3 HD and a 3.5 to 10 power with the dial-up zero stop, zero locking turret. Talk about the bubble we put on it, all these different things in part 2 as we go through the setup. And now we're here to prove it out, or prove it can't. One or the other, folks. Let's get to it. If a friend tells you to bore sight your rifle with a laser device or a collimator or something like that, fire them. Rehire them once you've explained how much superior it is to use the old-fashioned method of looking through the barrel with the rifle stable, right? Get the target in the middle of your bore, just like you're using a peep sight. A big long tube is a peep sight. And then just move your crosshairs to match. And you'll be closer than any laser pointing device or collimator or whatnot can get you. So that's what we're doing here. We've got our rifle built, all put together. Haven't ever fired a shot through it. And we're just going to get on paper with the first couple shots, and then we'll start shooting groups. Now, this crosshair needs to go down. And so I'm going to get my tools, loosen the turret, make that adjustment, and then we'll come back. All right, when you're dealing with a turret with a zero stop, you can only dial it down so far, right? So with these Leupold VX-3 HD scopes, let's say you need to go down about 5 inches, which is what I'm guessing we'll need to do. You just loosen the screws and it'll float, right? Loosen them all the way, you can take it off. But all I'm gonna do is go up 5 minutes of angle and tighten those screws back down. And now it'll grip the top of that inside turret. And when I dial down to 0, it's gonna bring the crosshairs with it. There we go. Now we're ready to check the bore sighting again and fire a couple test shots. All right, elevation, the crosshairs looks perfect now. I'm gonna bring them just a little bit to the right because I'm hanging on the left edge of my target out there. And I think we're good. Time to shoot. Okay, so I've brought 4 different loads to accuracy test in the Ruger American today. I'm gonna start with the Hornady Precision Hunter 175 grain ELDX bullet because that is just a frequently accurate load. I want to do as little work as possible. You know, I'm trying to keep with the budget theme here. I don't want to burn a whole lot of rounds in doing this. So I'm going to start with the one that I anticipate will shoot best. It'll give me a good hunting bullet. Then I'll probably try the Hornady ELD Match 180 grain bullet if this one isn't quite up to what I want, because that's actually a pretty dang good hunting bullet itself. It's not quite tough enough for shots on elk and so forth, but you can do a dual load thing and whatnot. That's a topic for a different time. For now, we're going to start with this. We're going to shoot 3-shot groups. All right, another thing I'm doing, I'm running a little chronograph here just to give us velocities. This is a 20-inch barrel, which is fine. I love hunting suppressed, and I don't go shorter than a 20-incher on a 7mm PRC, but I'm pretty confident in a 20-incher. My first 7 PRC had a 20-inch barrel, and it's been awesome. It will lose a little velocity over a 22 or 24. That's an acceptable trade-off to me, but I do want to know what that velocity is. So this is a Garmin 01 Pro chronograph, little pocket chronograph. They're just so easy to carry around, to set up, and to use. I did find that I kept losing this one, so I took some spray paint, painted my little tripod orange. That's a custom feature, folks. Let's put a bullet on paper and see if we catch it. There we go. It's about 4 inches left and 1, 2, 3, 4 inches low. 3 or 4 inches low. Okay, we'll make an adjustment. I like to have a grid on my target because it helps me adjust precisely. So if I'm 1, 2, 3, I'm actually 3.5 inches low at 50 yards. So an inch at 50 yards is, what is that? 2 MOA. So I need to come up 7 minutes of angle. And I need to come right 4 inches, so that's 8 minutes of angle at 50 yards. 2, 4, 6, 8. We're just getting kind of near the middle here, and then we'll move back to 100 yards. I actually kind of like this because it's fouling the barrel and knocking the new off. And then when we go to 100 yards, we'll be a little bit more toward broke in. Okay, we're in the little orange diamond at 50 yards. Left corner, I'm going to bring it a couple more clicks right, and we're going to move back out to 100 yards. Just for those curious, we are averaging a little bit north of 2,700 feet per second with Hornady factory ammo out of the 20-inch barrel. It's not very fast, folks. That's partly due to the short barrel, but it's more due to the lack of high-octane gunpowder that's ideal for the 7mm PRC for mass loading it on the market right now. So it's okay. We'll press on. We're more worried about accuracy than we are about velocity right now. And the good news is my hand loads can always match the advertised velocity, get north of 2,900 feet per second and produce great accuracy when the time comes. Right now we're running with factory ammo. Okay, back to 100 yards. All right, truth time. Let's see how she shoots. This is our very first group at 100 yards. We got it hitting center at 50. So I'm guessing we're going to be just an inch or two high at 100. Now, inch left. Nothing wrong with that. We can adjust. We're going to just shoot a group so we get an average. Never chase one shot adjustments because they don't tell the whole story. Oh, that's promising. Those two bullet holes are touching. Yeah, baby. See if we can put a third there with them. Holy smokes, that is a legitimate half-inch group at 100 yards. That's first crazy. Group out of the Ruger American Hornady 175 grain Yield EX bullets. Printed 3 shots, touching. That is just awesome. All right, hopefully we'll catch another good group here because you never know. That could have been a fluke out of a brand new barrel. And we just bought this rifle off the shelf, right? This was not sent to us by a manufacturer. This is, I mean, the whole hand-selected thing's a myth anyway, but this is what it is. We're shooting a rifle just like any other consumer would. All right, group number 2 at 100 yards. And I'm going to aim at the bottom left-hand diamond. not too bad. Those two are about 3/4 of an inch apart. I'm still plenty happy with that. If this rifle is a solid sub-MOA shooter, we're doing just fine.
Right by the first one.
Nice. Okay, touching the first hole. Now, I'm happy with the elevation there, but I'm going to bring it back a couple clicks. I think I adjusted to the right just a little bit too much. So we'll spin this windage turret cap off. 2 clicks left. And I am going to shoot one more 3-shot group, just because for accuracy testing, I always like to have an average. Usually I try and do it with 9 rounds, 10 maximum, and then I'll add up all 3 of the group sizes, divide by 3, and that's my average. All right, we're gonna fire a 3rd group at 100 yards and see how we do. See if we can continue this accuracy and see if our point of impact is refined. Now, it's worth noting that you don't see it here, but downrange, the wind is ripping a bit. And so if I get a little bit of left to right variance, I'm gonna blame it on the wind right now. Velocity has been fairly unimpressive. Our average currently with about, 9 shots in, is 2,684 feet per second. That's 6.5 Creedmoor speeds, folks. Even out of a 20-inch barrel, we should be getting 150 feet per second more than that. So I'm really happy with the accuracy, but I'm seeing exactly what a lot of you guys are seeing out there with the factory 7 PRC ammo that's just not loaded to real good speeds. All right, we're aiming at the bottom right-hand diamond on that same target face that we've been shooting at. Firing the hole. There we go, just right where I want it. Almost touching. This is pretty sweet. $600 rifle shooting dang good groups at 100 yards with factory ammo. That one's a tad higher, but we're still probably at an inch or thereabouts.
Yeah,
and
looks like
we're straight up at 12 o'clock. I'm happy with that. Let's let this fine rifle cool, and we're going to try the federal version of the 175 grain ELDX bullet and see if it gives us more velocity with equal accuracy. All right, now we're going to test Federal's version of the 175 grain ELDX load. We may see higher velocities with this one. I kind of anticipate that we will. If we also see equal accuracy, we'll probably use this one to reach out and see what this rifle can do at extended distances. Right side target, center. This is another good test in just determining whether various types of ammo hit to the same point of impact, especially when they're loaded with the same bullet. Okay, first group isn't quite as good as the Hornady stuff, and our velocity isn't much better. It's only about 30 feet per second better, maybe 40. We'll see how it does with the second group. Bottom left diamond on that same face. That's better. Got a nice, tidy sub 3/4 inch group there, I think. All right, guys, just a little quick tip. If your rifle isn't shooting the way you want it to, check the fore-end. Make sure you've got clearance all the way down. $1 bill, $10 bill, whatever works. This one, I can see there's a bigger gap on the one side than the other. I don't care. As long as I have clearance on a affordable rifle like this, that's good enough. that wind's picking up. Okay, so that's pretty cool. The Federal stuff does shoot as good as the Hornady. What you saw with that first group that was bigger was an ammunition shift. And I often see that when I'm switching from one load to another, where the propellant was a different type. And it takes 3 or 4 shots for the new type of fouling to lay down and become consistent in that bore. So I think we can just about write off that first group that was 1.5 inches or so and look at the second and third groups of the Federal ammo and say, yep, this stuff shoots too. All right, we're gonna test one more type of ammo. Even though I'm pretty satisfied we could do what we wanna do with either the Federal or the Hornady load with 175 grain ELDX, but just because I wanna test this match ammo. It shoots a 180 grain bullet with a scandalously high BC, and I wanna see if it shoots a little faster and maintains the same level of groups. All right, I'm gonna shoot the top diamond, starting on the far left and working right. Awesome, they're touching. Sweet, that's another 1/2 inch group. I like this rifle. All right, group number 2. Another 1/2 inch group, folks. So we can definitively say this rifle will hold its point of impact through at least 6 shots. We've got 2 consecutive 1/2 inch groups with this 180 grain ELD match bullet. This is the one we're going to use for reaching out with this rifle for a couple reasons. One, I have more of it than the 175 grain ELDX. 2, it's, I think, shooting the best. And 3, it's actually one of my favorite mule deer loads. This is the load that William, who's standing behind that camera right now, used to take his nice mule deer buck, his best buck yet, last fall at about 520 yards. Great kill. So I don't like this bullet for elk, but for deer-sized game, it's dang good. All right, because we can. Ultimate test here, folks. We're gonna shoot another 3-shot group without letting this rifle cool. 100 yards, let's see what she does. Holy smokes. 9 rounds down and we're still shooting 1/2 inch groups, folks. This barrel's getting so hot, I'm getting heat shimmers across my crosshairs. That's pretty awesome. All right, we're gonna reach out with this rifle. I've come up 3 clicks, reset the turret, and came left a click. From what we're seeing at 100 yards, we're gonna just start shooting at these vital size or smaller steel plates. We're talking deer vital size plates or smaller. We're just gonna start at 200 and march our way out to 600. Center, center, we'll take it. And because we're using my phone to film this, I had to pre-crunch my ballistics and write them down. So I'm coming up 2 1/4 minutes for 300 yards. We're going to try that small plate on the left side. Now that plate is way smaller than your average vital. That's more coyote vital size, but we'll give her a shot. I'll take it. 400 yards. With this particular rifle and load, we're coming up 4 3/4 minutes of angle for 400 yards. Let me know when you're on. Now, both of these plates at 400 are pretty dang small. Just because I can see the one on the right a little better, we're going to shoot that one. I think, I might be wrong, but I think these are 6-inch plates, so they're only 1.5-minute plates. And here the wind becomes an issue. Fire in the hole. Woohoo! Okay, we have a little bit of a left to right breeze, and I split the difference between center and left edge for that shot. Worked pretty good. We are death on deer and coyote sized vitals out to 400 yards. Let's go to 5. And these plates are ridiculously small. Wish me luck, folks. I'm gonna need it. Okay, I'm gonna try for the left plate, and if I miss, cut me some slack here. This is like shooting at a rabbit at 500 yards. Fire in the hole. That'll do. All right, we're gonna give the rifle just a minute to cool, and we're gonna go to 600 yards.
Nice.
First round impact, 700 yards. Sweet. Ding. Love it. All right, folks, the dust is settling and the sun is setting on a pretty long afternoon of shooting. And my, oh my, am I impressed. First, just to comment on the loads we've tested. We ran through 2 Hornady loads, the 175 ELDX and the 180 ELD match, and then 1 Federal load with 175 grain ELDX bullet. All 3 were easily sub-inch averages, and all 3 were accurate enough to do anything we would ask this rifle to do out to 600 yards. The rifle itself ran great. We never had a single reliability issue. It's pretty smooth. It's more accurate than I thought it would be. Candidly, I'm real surprised. I hoped we would get 1 inch or better average with some kind of ammo. We got it with everything we ran in this rifle, and that 180 grain ELD match is going to average closer to a 1/2 inch groups at 100 yards than 1 inch groups. Comfortable stock. I can't say I love the styling. I don't really love how that magazine sticks out the bottom. The stock's too flexible. The trigger's a little bit heavy and a little bit mushy. It's a $600 rifle that shoots really well to 600 yards, folks. I don't know how you can beat that. Cerakote, fluted. Wow, this is so impressive. So I'm standing here trying to figure out how to wrap up this budget rifle build. What do I say? I'm blown away. I didn't think we'd get this far this effectively. So kudos to Ruger. Congrats to anyone that owns one of these already. And if you want to emulate this build, I can heartily recommend every part on this rifle. If you have the money, maybe buy a little more expensive rings, but these ones worked. I don't have a single complaint with them. I'm going to dial my scope back down. It's still dialed for 700 yards. What else can I say? It's a success, folks. Hit us with questions, if you have any, on how to get the most out of your hunting rifle setup. If you want to improve it, if you want to tune it to shoot a little better out there further, if you just want to test it to see what kind of ammunition runs through it best, please go ahead and hit us with those questions. We'll We'll do our best to answer them. And meanwhile, thanks for following along. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you'd like to see more builds of this type, hit us with suggestions. Tell us what rifle you'd like to see featured next. Because even though it's a lot of work, William and I have had a lot of fun doing this one. I'm Joseph Von Benedict, and we'll see you in the backcountry.